we're going to look at a few examples here with just graphing trig functions. I'm going to talk you through this one, and then we're going to kind of just speed it up so you can watch the rest. We want to make sure that we pay attention right here. We know here that we have a -2 out front, right? It's being added or subtracted. This is my k. This is my vertical shift, right? Sometimes it's up front, sometimes I'll put it up back. Don't be fooled by the fact that it's just up front, right? You can add in any order, right? I can put this out here, no big deal. So we have an a of 3, a b of 2, a h of -5 pi over 3. Remember the sign's backwards, and of course my k is out here at -2. You can see that here. Amplitude's absolute value, so it's just going to be 3. My b is 2, right? So 2 pi divided by 2, which is just pi. And then we have -5 pi over 3 divided by my 2, so h over b, which is we get this, we multiply by our reciprocal, 1/2, which we're going to get -5 pi over 6. Of course, vertical shift stays as 2, and those are the 4 parts that we want. The additional pieces that are helpful, not required, but helpful, would be to find my increment, right? How far apart are my units going to be? We take the period divided by 4. In this case, pi divided by 4. The other thing, now that we have a phase shift involved, we see this as a phase shift, I'm going to put that starting point down, and it's just the phase shift. That's it. So we're going to come down here, put this, and that's where I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to start right here. Okay? I'm going to put that value in. Notice it's negative, right? And I noticed that I had a negative starting point. So notice on my axis, I do not have my vertical axis labeled yet. That's important. I don't know where that's going to fall exactly, so I'm going to go ahead and put the x-axis down first, and then wherever it goes from positive or negative to positive, that's where I'm going to drop that vertical line. Here, I'm just showing you how I would add the common denominators, -5 pi over 6 plus my increment of pi over 4. 6 and 4 have a common denominator, or common multiple of 12, right? And so we look at that, we add those values together, and get them together, and we add them to get -7 pi over 12. It's going to be my first value past this mark here. And really, I've circled this value because we're going to be adding 3 pi over 12 every time. So I'm really just going to be combining the -7 and the 3. So it's really going to be just me adding 3 to the numerator each individual time, right? So it's kind of like looking like this. I'm not going to rewrite this. I'm just going to add 3 to the value up top. So -7 plus 3, I get -4. -4 plus 3, I get -pi. -pi plus 3, or -1 plus 3 is just going to be 2 pi. Now notice, negative, 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 positive, right? So right in between here, and I'm not really going to be too accurate with this, I'm going to drop that vertical line where I'm going to get my vertical axis. This is going to allow me to go back in and put my vertical shift, which would be -2. And I'm going to go back up and look at my amplitude. I'm going to make sure to do that. So we'll start with -2 at the center here, and go up 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put those values 1. I know this seems a little bit awkward to put your -2 right here. Sometimes you can put it out front, but I really like it to be next to my axis. And you'll break it down. If we go down 3, we're going to go to -5. My axes are set up, both x and y. Now I'm going to go back to my cosine function. I realize that cosine starts at the top, and it goes, and I'm paying attention to this point, this point, this point, this point, and this point. Notice none of my points ended up on my x or my y-axis. That is a temptation to put your point on the axis. Resist that unless you have one of your values at 0, right? So put that point down. We labeled our cosine function. Don't be tempted to put this as a reflection, because that -2, in fact, it might even be useful to take this value and rewrite it down here at the end where you're used to seeing it. So you're not tempted to look up here and think, oh, look, there's a negative value out front. I've got to reflect this over the x-axis and draw it upside down. Don't do that. Here we have our cosine function, and we're going to take that. I'm going to let the other examples kind of play through. They're very similar to these. I'm going to speed it up a little bit so you can kind of watch what happens. You can pause or slow it down if you want to. If you have any questions, please let me know. Send me a message through inbox, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.